Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is Humza again. No spoke about him for a while, and his new crackpot idea where he believes there's an impasse on the subject of independence, and we have to bring in a foreigner to sort it out. Right? The man's lost the plot. Please go back to the backbench. You sit there and do nothing for 2 years until the election comes about, and you can decide if you want to stand in your constituency or not. But between now and then, sit at the back, please, and keep your trap shut. You'll do less damage. So, the headline in the Scottish Daily Express is Humza Yousaf told there is no independence impasse as he suggests a foreign third party could get involved. The former First Minister took to social media with the new bright idea of breaking up the UK after he spent a year in charge of the SNP and failed to make any progress. That's right, he made hee-haw difference. The only thing he done in the independence movement was change the rules of the de facto referendum that his predecessor, Nicola Sturgeon, had declared, where she declared if Scottish voters voted in the majority of votes, 50% of the votes plus one, to pro-independence parties, that would give a mandate for a referendum, therefore independence. He then came along and went, no, that's not so good, that'd be quite difficult. We'll make it easier. We'll make it half the seats. So it's 57 seats. So what's that, 29 or more, and we've got a mandate for independence. Now that target, when he shouted, it looked pretty easy because they had 40 odd, 46, 47 sitting MPs at the time, so 29 didn't seem that much a difficult task, but they ended up with 9, right? So you've had your de facto referendum, Scottish people done what you asked, and that was to use it as a de facto referendum, and 29.9% voted for your party, and you won 9 seats, right? So that's it. That was just 12 weeks ago, but you've now, see, there's an impasse. No, there's no. There's no an impasse. It's just that you can't get the majority of people to actually agree with you. So you want to bring in a third party to sort out the impasse between you and Westminster. You told Westminster the rules. We're having a de facto referendum. You never asked them to agree to it. And your de facto referendum failed miserably, right? You don't need somebody from Paraguay to come and tell you that. But you won't. You'll want somebody from somewhere closer, and probably more comfortable with the fact of independence, because you'd want to pick the person as well, wouldn't you? Because you want all the rules. Anyway, I digress. The story says Humza Yousaf has been told there is no independence impasse after he suggested that a foreign third party should get involved with the debate. The former First Minister took to social media to outline a solution which he claimed could lead to breaking up the UK. During his time in Bute House, he outlined a strategy which would set negotiations if the SNP won the general election. Unfortunately, he was not in charge of his party for the campaign, as he resigned in shame after blowing up his premiership by axing the Bute House Agreement. The SNP went on to spectacularly lose on July the 4th, as they went from 48 MSPs to just 9, meaning that Scots voted against breaking up the UK. Despite this overwhelming defeat, Mr Yousaf insisted that there was an impasse about independence between the UK and Scottish governments, and that this could be broken by introducing an international mediator. Backbench MSP now, he said, the UK government clearly fears the verdict of the people of Scotland on another referendum. Why would anybody fear that when you got 29.9% of the vote with your rules and you get 9 seats when your rules said you would get 29? The impasse has to be broken. No, it doesn't, because it doesn't exist. And both UK and Scottish governments should consider whether an international third party should be sought to negotiate a way forward between two governments. He also called the Yes movement to be honest about where we've fallen short. He said, we have rightly pointed out the failures of the Union, but we have not done enough to persuade people about the benefits of independence. That requires an honesty about where there are challenges, but being confident about the incredible opportunities independence would bring. That goes two ways, and those who oppose independence must be honest about the numerous promises made in 2014 that have since been broken. This is curious, right? Because I get this a lot, and people go on about the vow. But the vow, and that was the agreement that I think it was the day before the referendum, that 3 leaders of the pro-union parties put together a promise called the Vow. And nobody can tell you what part of that they broke. So it's kind of like one of these broken records that people just say, they broke the vow, these buggers promised us the vow, you broke it. Well, in what way? What words in the vow were broken? I can't see any. But the William Wallace wannabes, they can't see any either. They just keep saying it, they broke the vow. Didn't they, Sarah? They broke that vow, the Tories and that, Labour Party and that, they foreigners down in that foreign Parliament, Westminster, these crackpots. Anyway, so the vow had been broken. Now we've got an ex-First Minister of Scotland saying the same, but without backing up and telling us exactly what was broken. Mr Yousaf also insisted that he had no doubt Scotland would become an independent country in his lifetime. There you are. He failed to turn the tide as First Minister, as his Skexit strategy of winning 29 seats at the general election failed. And he also did not introduce his foreign mediator when he was in charge. He was forced to resign from his role just after a year when he fired the Scottish Greens from government, with his tenure marked by a litany of policy failures and the SNP plunging down the popularity rankings. He faced a vote of no confidence but quit before it happened. John Swinney replaced him and has yet to come up with his own independent strategy, although, he did agree with the de facto referendum. Let's not forget that. So John Swinney went aye, and although there was 2 potential versions of it, he plumped for the Humza Yousaf rules, which was 29 seats. So he was the same. Right, so he told the nation, get 29 seats over, and that will give us a mandate for independence. Peter Smith, the ITV journalist, he asked him, well, if you don't get 29, does that give a mandate for no referendum and no independence? Right? Because they want, see, when you toss a coin, they want heads and tails. Right? They want a heads we win, tails you lose scenario. So he wouldn't answer the question. Peter Smith challenged him superbly on it, as he often does, because they're a very good journalist. Where did we get to? Instead, highlighting they must govern Scotland better than his predecessors to win back the trust of Scots. Scottish Tory MSP slated Mr Yousaf's comments. Murdo Fraser said, there is no impasse. We've had 2 referendums. Good point, well presented. One in 2014 and a de facto one in 2024. You lost both. Now get on with your job you're paid to do and sort out the mess of 17 years of SNP rule. Stephen Kerr said, the impasse here is Scottish nationalists refusing to respect the result. The international solution would be a nicely worded letter saying to the effect of, get over it. So there we go. Humza, and I sort of missed Humza in a way, because I used to do videos probably daily, sometimes more than one a day, about Humza. And since he buggered off to the backbenches, I've not really had much need to pull him up. I do often chortle at his Twitter feed, right enough, over in X, formerly known as Twitter, right? Because he comes out with some absolute nonsense on that. And I looked one day, and out his last 10 posts, all about different things in different countries, one of them was about Scotland, which I found bizarre, because he's an MSP in a parliament, and he was the First Minister of a government in a parliament that has no devolved powers of foreign policy. Yet often always spends more time on social media discussing foreign affairs, which he has absolutely no control over, than things that are going on in Scotland. It's kind of bonkers, isn't it? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit subscribe and the notifications bell. Put your comments below, let us know what you think of the topic. But most importantly of all, unless you're Humza Yousaf or any of his remaining cult members who are dwindling every day, as long as you're not them.
Everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.